Hey, Catalyst. I'm so excited to bring this episode to you. I don't know if you feel the same that I do, but I have become personally outraged by all the sloppy AI that I read every day in social media. It's actually working in my favor because I'm not scrolling as much as I used to. But I'm tired of seeing the same phrases, the same cliches, the same patterns, and I want you to be better. So, in this episode, I'm going to teach you the FLAT mnemonic test, FLAT, so you can spot when AI language is leaving you flat and you can make it better. And also stay to the end because I'm going to give you a glimpse of what our catalysts say inside my Catalyst Studio mentorship about all the top apps they're using for AI and how they're using them so that you can level up your experience in the social media realm. All right, let's start coloring outside the lines. Welcome to The Catalyst Way, the podcast for women clinicians ready to clear the chaos and create space to flourish. I'm Dr. Laura Salyer, a former burned out family practice doctor turned mentor, author, and professional calendar whisperer. I help women in medicine reclaim time, trust their intuition, and build practices that actually fit their lives. Each week, you'll get practical tools, creative strategies, and tiny shifts that help you color outside the lines and paint a work-life masterpiece of authentic, aligned joy. Okay, we've been living in AI world for quite some time now. I mean, ChatGPT is just a local household name. Students, college co-eds, businesses, everybody's using AI. It's caught on. It's no longer novel or new. But now it's just gross. There's so much generic content and everything is unoriginal. Everything is AI. I'm not even going to get talking about the videos. But my tipping point came when I was enjoying a Friday evening and I was going to make some pizza with my son, pizza crust. I was going to make a regular version and a gluten-free version for my delicate palate. And as I was searching ChatGPT for recipes, I love using it for simple, quick, hey, help me make something real quick with these ingredients. And I went to the store, I got the right things, I made the dough, and let's just say the regular gluten dough was fabulous, but it was not stretchy. I wanted to replicate what I've been seeing on TikTok, which is the pizza dough challenge. Papa Murphy's, Domino's, people are slinging it up. And I had these, imaginative thoughts that we'd be slinging pizza dough in my kitchen, and it wasn't stretchy enough, but it tasted okay. However, the gluten-free, it just ended up in my garbage. It was horrible. It was a big rock. It wasn't even malleable. And I said, that's it. I've got to do something about this problem. So that's what this episode is for. And I'm going to start by reading a very obvious content that I have asked ChatGPT to give me. It's straight from ChatGPT. And as you're listening to this, I want you to think in your mind what sounds like AI to you. Like, really, just listen, take it in. I'm going to read it directly from my thread on ChatGPT. And I want you to see how many times it puts in the typical telltale signs of ChatGPT writing. Here we go. In today's fast-paced world, burnout is more common than ever. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just starting out, finding balance between your professional goals and personal well-being can feel like an uphill battle. The good news is it doesn't have to be that way. With the right mindset and a few simple strategies, you can reclaim your passion, optimize your productivity, and rediscover your purpose. Let's face it, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. By harnessing the power of creativity and self-care, you'll learn how to align your values with your daily habits so you can finally thrive instead of just survive. The truth is, you deserve to wake up every morning feeling energized, empowered, and inspired to make a difference. So, what does this mean for you? It means it's time to take action. Start by getting clear intentions, prioritizing your well-being, and embracing tools that help you show up as your best self. Remember, small changes can lead to big transformations. At the end of the day, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Blah. Okay, so here's the deal. I mean, what it said isn't wrong per se, but it just has that je ne sais quoi about AI. You just feel the AI in every word and every sentence structure. And if you're like me, you couldn't quite put your finger on it, but you're like, I know it just sounds like AI. It's just got this brand. It's this unique ChatGPT brand. And I'm here to rebel against it. And I want you to as well, because we need that humanity back. We need that personality back. And I'll be honest, I'm looking at all of you. I can tell that you've just copied and pasted AI. But hey, I'm not throwing shade. I've done it too. And I'm going to do better. And this mnemonic, we're going to go over, and together we'll both be better at putting the human back into our writing. So the mnemonic is flat, F-L-A-T. So let's start with F. F is formulaic. AI loves a perfect symmetrical paragraph. You might notice the paragraphs are all the same length. The sentences are all about 15 words long. It's bleh, right? So this symmetry is like overly balanced, right? There's lots of colons, lots of semicolons. When have we ever used that much, that many colons or semicolons? I haven't since 8th grade English class. And then usually it's like a topic sentence, 3 supporting takeaways, and then a conclusion, a beautiful bow on top. Now, I know we were trained to write this way, again, in 8th grade English class, but humans ramble. We have thoughts, we have nuances, we have phrases that are unique to our own language and our style, and we're missing that. And every paragraph being the same length is just so uncanny valley. The second thing is the rule of 3 in this formulaic language. There's usually 3. You'll see pairings of 3, triplicate everything, triplicate comparisons, triplicate adjectives like too polished, too smooth, not quite real. Lots of this words, words, period. Oh, so frustrating. And finally, the comparison overload happens in this formulaic aspect of our AI language. It's not this, it's that. That is my number one just pet peeve of AI. There's so many comparisons. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. That was literally just in the text I read to you. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Blah. Okay, so in this first part of the mnemonic, the formulaic F, here's the bare minimum. Remember, you have to have 1 BM a day, 1 bare minimum. Here's the bare minimum to help save you from this formulaic language. Use the find feature after you had your AI script generated and simply look for phrases like it's not. Okay, that's the number 1 bare minimum. Just take that out, rewrite the sentence, put some human back into it. That's it. Okay, let's move on to L, which is lazy language. Lazy language. This is stuff that my 8th grade English teacher definitely would have redlined on my paper. It's clichés and phrases that we don't really say to each other, but for some reason, AI thinks that it needs to be in writing. Things like the truth is, and at the end of the day, or in today's fast-paced world, you see these all the time. Another one is, let's face it, or the good news is. That was literally in the passage I read you. And these are like the millennial gray paint color on our walls. It's just blah. It is lazy. It is not adding to the conversation. And similar to how we're trained in medicine, when you order a lab test, our attendings would always ask, is it going to really change the treatment? Do you really need that result, that data? That's smart medicine, asking yourself those critical thinking skills. And in the same way, is this adding to the nuance, to the meaning, to the conversation? If not, take it out. Please take it out. Another is the M dash use. The M dash is that long dash. Now, it's everywhere in AI. And I hate that because I was a native M dash user. I know it's a habit, but even when I was writing my book, Right Brain Rescue, and it went to the copy and content editors, they commented on the M dash use. It's just how I think. It's how I talk. I'm always interjecting phrases. So I'm really devastated because that was sort of my unique way of talking. Also the ellipsis, the 3 dots. And I've had to force myself to graduate from that, even though it feels really wrong because that's how I chat with my friends and how I write. But AI uses that so much that I don't want people thinking that that's AI writing when in fact, it came from my own brain. And the other thing in this lazy language is the overuse of starter words. Look at every paragraph. It usually starts with first, next, or sometimes finally. And the worst offenders are so or because. Oh my gosh, I hate it. They start sentences with so or because. I mean, my English teacher would have had a heyday. So here's your bare minimum, your BM for helping solve this lazy language section is just remove the starter words. Look at the first word of every sentence and just remove it. You don't have to have so or because. It's really weak writing. It's improper grammar, and then you'll be ahead of the game. Okay, moving on. In our flat mnemonic, FLA, A stands for artificial optimism. I don't know what it is about ChatGPT, but it just wants to blow sunshine everywhere. It cannot stand any conflict or any nuance. It really wants everything polished and, rainbow sparkles and all that stuff. And that's okay for a motivational poster, but we need to get those motivational poster words out. Things like, you deserve to wake up feeling energized, empowered, and inspired. That was from the passage that I just read you. And do you notice it has the triplicate? But that is all belonging on a motivational poster of somebody standing on a cliff looking over a horizon. Please take that off, or just stick with one. Because if you have a triplicate of motivational words, that's a telltale sign you're using ChatGPT. Another thing is forced empathy in this kind of artificial optimism. So I think Chat tries to counterbalance this obvious slant towards optimism by saying, well, I get it, you're busy. Trying to make it sound like it's empathetic. It doesn't know. It feels weird. And how many of us would say that to our friends or in our writing? It just doesn't feel human. Okay. Finally, there's no opinion, no friction. There's no contraindications. There's basically no edges. It's this fluff that just feels all rosy. And as a person who loves the magic and joy of creativity and positivity and all the wonderful stuff that is a gift to us being alive in this meat suit walking on earth, I get it. I like that, but there's just no shadow. There's no, edges. And the best masterpieces are made of light and dark. So here's your bare minimum to get out of that artificial optimism of ChatGPT. Your BM is asking yourself, if this piece of writing could be dropped right into a LinkedIn post, then it's got to change. Because LinkedIn, unfortunately, I love you, LinkedIn, but it is all motivational speak. I mean, they were doing this long before ChatGPT was, the humble brags, here's what I'm doing and it's all wonderful. And so if it matches that LinkedIn vibe, then it's got to change. You got to rewrite that sentence. T is the last of our flat mnemonic. And T stands for thesaurus. Think again. This is all about the words, right? And my 8th grade English teacher would have said, these are 50-cent words. And boy, has inflation gone up. I would say $10 words today. These are words that aren't the easy vocabulary words. These are the ones that you had to have spelling tests on. You had to understand the nuances of words like optimize, leverage, harness. How many times I've read that, both in my copy, but others. I mean, let's start mixing it up. Start looking for other words, but please make them less than 4 syllables. Like, it doesn't have to be this Shakespearean, monologue. Oof. That it just shows that the robot's been at the helm. Also, it's just we don't talk like that. And that was a common issue when I was writing my book as well. I tended to love these flowery words because I guess I would call myself a bibliophile. I just love words. Words are like spells. And so as I was writing my memoir, I would use words naturally that felt really descriptive, but the editor made great recommendations saying, this is okay, but the readers don't think that way, nor do they speak that way. So it might be really helpful just to kind of eliminate some of that flowery talk. And it was great. It felt more conversational and relatable. You want relatable content. You want to say things like, this is how I got unstuck, and not use my transformational journey towards bleh. No, thank you. Also, there's no sensory detail in any of this thesaurus thinking. There's really no human senses mentioned, smells, tastes, sounds. What were you feeling? What was your patient feeling? These are the things that are critical that humans are naturally drawn towards. And finally, no specificity or nuance. So AI might tell you one study said this, but it won't give you an accurate source, which stay tuned. We have good ways to find that out. Or it likes to offer up a cutesy little list of tips, and it's really missing the messy complexity that happens. So make sure that you're not just putting out Pollyanna fluff in this thesaurus thinking. You can spot it by, looking at these words. And here's your bare minimum task to get out of that thesaurus thinking is when you spot these excessive words, ask yourself, would I say this sentence to my friend if we were having coffee? And if the answer is no, just write it like you would. Write it like you would, because your readers, your audience, your patients, and this goes for patient visit summaries. We want to look like we are, knowledgeable and we're experts and we're guiding them towards health, but we don't have to be Shakespeare. And we certainly should not be just using AI without doing some editing. Okay, so before we conclude with our usual catalyst question, I've got a rapid fire list directly from inside our Catalyst Studio mentorship, where all women practitioners come and join us to recreate a better healthcare for all. We're learning how to build membership practices. We're learning how to strategically handle our calendar and become efficient and streamlined. We cover it all. And in our last studio time, we did a rapid fire share of what kind of AI apps are we using and how are we using them. So here's the master list so far. As you know, it evolves. Now, our catalysts definitely are using ChatGPT, but we found that it's great for summarizing books. It is excellent for patient-facing explanation of labs. Yes, you can screenshot labs without patient identifiers, please. No HIPAA breaching here. And you can share these visuals, and ChatGPT will be able to give you a patient-facing, kind of a better comprehensive understanding without rambling like a lot of us would, because our brains tend to cascade out and telescope out into the longest explanation. But we found that Catalyst don't like ChatGPT for writing. It usually has too much in there. So they've been using other alternatives like Grok. Grok has been great to write, and it gives a little more human touches, a little less, verbosity. And when you're looking for patient-facing material, a lot of our catalysts liked Freed AI, which, as you know, is one of my favorites. I did an interview with the founder of Freed. I'll put the link in the show notes. Heidi Health is another popular AI tool for EMR charting and patient-facing material as well. Now, Open Evidence is another app that is using AI with high touch, and we use it for checking our sources, citing those studies that ChatGPT doesn't have access to. It is beautiful because you need an NPI number, so it's licensed practitioners only, so you're getting up-to-date current research. It gives you the actual source, and it tells you the current strategies for conventional medicine purposes, right? Not so much for functional medicine, but what you can do is cross-check, and it helps you answer questions like, this is one I answered recently, is help me explain to my patient who has a family history of breast cancer, but no personal history, why topical estradiol is still very safe for her. And it helped. It helped me come up with a list of studies and resources, so I love Open Evidence. Here's another one, Revelia DX. It is like the second generation of Living Matrix for those that use the Living Matrix to help provide a beautiful visual dashboard of the MSQ score. It kind of helps you quantify which areas of functional medicine are you needing more support in. And so Revelia DX has been a popular one. And other dashboards have also been mentioned, like Get Healthy and Healthfully. Those also can incorporate the biomarkers from wearables and help patients see that visual progress as they're making changes, which is awesome. Now, the top EMRs that our catalysts are using are Charm, Serbo, Practice Better. We have some Jane users. We have up and coming EMRs like Mala and Ever Better. So there's a lot of great opportunities where these EMRs are captivating the AI content and helping us chart better. It's just a great time to be in medicine, frankly. Quick pause. If you're loving this podcast and secretly dreaming about building a functional or integrative practice that doesn't burn you out, you're my person. Catalyst Studio is the 12-month mentorship for women clinicians who want to build or scale a membership style practice. We mix practical business strategy with creativity and flow so that you can build a thriving practice that actually fits your life. Come join us. It is the mentorship I wish I had had. You'll find all the information at drlaurasalyer.com/catalyst. Our catalysts are also using Notion and Monday to help organize their calendar. And one thing they noted is in order to be HIPAA compliant, though, you need the enterprise level of Monday. So might be cost prohibitive for some of us. Finally, Trello and ClickUp are popular to organize tasks, to communicate with our VAs, to organize our projects and give deadlines and reminders and nudges. But ClickUp was too linear. Many catalysts felt like that was almost like the PC brain as opposed to the Macintosh brain. It wasn't as visual as some of the other options were. So, bottom line, here's the thing. Before you start exploring some of these shiny new tech, because I do believe you can give yourself permission to graduate from tech. If you feel like there's an app that you've been really struggling with and you've been working with it for a long time and it's just not a joy, it doesn't feel like it's making your life easier. You kind of cringe when you open it up and you're still feeling confused. Give yourself permission to graduate. But before you do, give yourself 2 hours in that current app and try to become a super user. Just give yourself 2 hours to see if you can maximize and optimize how you're using that app, because you might just be 1 or 2 support articles or YouTube videos away from loving that app and not having to rearrange your whole life, because it can take months to organize yourself into other apps. In fact, I spoke with a practitioner who's been through 4 EMRs, and it would take them 2 months to get organized in that new EMR, only to find out they didn't like the 1 or 2 features, and then they wanted to look for something else. There is no perfect AI app. There is no perfect EMR. So is it good enough? Is it giving you the bare minimum? Then become a super user and you will feel so much better. All right, so we've come down to the end. You've learned all about the flat mnemonic that will help you spot AI content, the formulaic flow, the lazy language, the artificial optimistic bent on things, and then finally, thesaurus thinking. Now, here's your catalyst question, and this will save you. Next time you have written some AI content and you want to use it either in a patient summary or in your social media or emails, just ask this one question. Could anybody have written this? If the answer is yes, you need to inject some of your personality in there. Throw in a personal story or an opinion or some kind of catchphrase that you find yourself saying all the time. Make it you. If anybody could have written this, it's gross, it's generic, it's millennial gray, and you want to be multicolored because you color outside the lines, because you are a catalyst. And if you are, and you're listening to this, I've got a little announcement. Twice a year, I open my doors up to the Catalyst Studio mentorship with a $500 discount. It's kind of like a Victoria's Secret semi-annual sale without the misogyny. But it's my way of helping brilliant women join us so that we can be that creative rebel that's up-leveling the status quo for all. If you've been thinking and listening, I really want to design a practice that gives me peace. I want to be among other women who are leading the change. Then please join me. Book a brainstorming session with me. That's 20 minutes on Zoom with the code podcast. You'll get it for free. And then in the month of December or July, you will be offered that $500 discount only in the months of December or July. And I hope that you join our wonderful crew because we need catalyst women like you. Until next time, keep coloring outside the lines.